Hey, this is Chris Bennett with James Geddes from Oklahoma. He's the latest addition to our family of American refugees, reefer refugees as the media likes to call them. And James's case is particularly horrifying. He was facing an astounding 75 years over 5 marijuana plants. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about your story, James.
Right. Well, that's not counting the other consecutive 75 years for simple possession of marijuana.
Right. So that was 150 years in total.
Right. Plus
and then lessened it to 75, or?
Excuse me?
Did he lessen it to 75 or something?
Yeah, I did get a modification from the Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals in 1995. They modified my sentence to 2 consecutive 45 years.
Wow.
That's what I thought. Awful nice of them.
Yeah, yeah. How long did you spend in actual jail?
In a medium security penitentiary in Oklahoma. 11 calendar years and 5 days for cultivating 5 marijuana plants.
Wow. Tell us a little bit of the story about your bus. What happened?
Well, I was on parole in Kansas. That's where my family lives, is in Kansas. And I was on parole there. And I had taken off on my parole, absconded, because I was fixing to give them a dirty UA for marijuana.
Right.
So I took off. I had 18 months left on a 10-year sentence in Kansas. And I was staying at one of my friend's house in a little town just the other side of Liberal, Kansas, Tyrone, Oklahoma. And we planted 5 marijuana plants out there in a little row of corn. And this lady, it's my brother's wife now. Her name is Kim. She was a supervisor over at Southwest Medical Center in Liberal, Kansas. Worked there for 13 years. She also went to prison for almost 2 years for the same charges. But she pled guilty.
So how many people all went to jail for these 5 plants?
Just me and this lady named Kim. Kim Shelton was her name. It's Kim Geddes now. But that was in July of 1992. That was when we was arrested. Went to court in February of 1993. And a jury of my peers found me guilty.
Had these plants even grown to bud, or?
No, there's only about 3.5 feet tall.
3.5 feet tall, all leaf.
There wasn't nothing but shade leaves on
So they were probably worth like 25 bucks.
It wasn't worth nothing.
It wasn't worth nothing. And so, how did they find out about the plants?
Well, one of Kim's friends that worked for her over at the hospital, and I won't say her name, she came up there and took some pictures. Why, I don't know. She might have been mad at this lady for something over at work or something. But she came up and took these pictures and took them down and gave them to the police. And that's how all that started. And it's been a nightmare ever since then. I was released last July the 28th.
Wow.
On parole for the cultivating the 5 marijuana plants.
And so you got convicted by a jury, right?
Right. They didn't have much choice.
They didn't have much choice. That's the law.
Right. They don't tell them exactly how severe they can punish somebody over a little bit of nothing until after they have no choice to do that. That's crazy, man. Crazy.
What was it like in prison?
Hot as hell.
Yeah.
It's like you're dead every day, man.
Huh.
My building.
You didn't think you were ever going to get out early or anything like that?
You know what? If it was not for the efforts of Mickey Norris and Chris Conrad.
2 great activists, by the way.
From HR95.org and other organizations. If it was not for them 2 people, I could not sit here and talk to you right now. It's because of them that I had the opportunity to escape from that penal system.
Wow.
And that's what I've done. I've escaped. Because I can't do the parole time until the year 2026. That's how long I'm on parole for the 5 marijuana plants.
Wow. And the only reason you got out in parole is because the prisons are so full there in Oklahoma.
No, because people such as Mickey Norris and other individuals, other organizations petitioned that governor's office, just like they did with Will Foster.
Right.
I mean, Will used to walk around the same yard.
Oh, wow.
And that's by their efforts is why I can sit here. Yes, I know Will very well.
But do you know him?
Right.
Yeah. And he was in jail for how long? For how many plants?
Man, started off with 90-some years.
90-something.
93 years, and you know the man's sick.
Yeah, yeah. He was
one of the greatest individuals I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
And one of the most strong activists that I've ever seen.
Nice, nice. And how many other people were in this jail for marijuana? You think?
Countless. I can't tell you how many.
Lots, though?
I know one black guy that they vacuumed up his floor and they got enough marijuana to constitute possession. When they ran it through their test, you know, where they get enough THC content, they vacuumed this man's floor up, man, and put him in there for a life sentence.
Wow.
Because he had other charges. I don't know
You think
what.
he's still in there?
Yeah, I know he is.
Wow.
There's no way he could be out by now.
Huh.
You know, when you have over 50% of your prison population locked up in on drug charges, that kind of stuff happens.
That's horrific.
They haven't singled me out. This goes on every day.
Horrific. And so you got out on parole due to the activism of Mickey Norris, Chris Conrad, and other like individuals.
Right.
Yeah. And then you're on parole, and you test negative?
One time.
One time? Yeah. Huh.
I started off. I was actually trying to comply by the rules that I agreed to.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think that I didn't. I honestly tried to comply with their rules, but I just didn't make it very long. I was trying not to smoke no weed because you give them a dirty UA, you know, they can pick it up in your system for up to 30 days. And they go by the nanogram count there now. Mm-hmm. You know, if your nanogram count on marijuana is so high, well, you're screwed, man.
Hmm.
First
Wow.
UA I gave them wasn't dirty for marijuana, but it was dirty for speed because I was trying to keep. I started having a real hard problem adjusting myself when I got out of there, and I'm still having a problem with it.
Yeah,
but
sure. It's a big change, man.
But I gave them so many dirty UAs, about 6 of them in a row for marijuana and methamphetamine, and I understand the part about the speed, but you know, there's nothing I can do about that except try extremely hard not to do it.
Well, it's a problem. It's not
Right.
something you belong in prison for.
Right. Well, they don't consider cancer. They consider it a disease, but they don't lock people up in prison for it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, besides that, who cares, man?
Yeah.
Why would you care if I smoked weed anyway?
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Business, yeah.